Steve Jobs, he's not just some good salesman or marketing guy who's capable in making the Apple product well known. He is more than that. These are the dents he had made in the universe. A lot of his teammates deserve the credit of making the dent. Number 1, Apple Computers and Apple Inc. The Apple Computers Inc. started from his parents' garage. He came up with the name Apple as he believed the word began from alphabet A, makes easy for anyone to search it from the phone book. Wozniak is the genius who built the first version of Apple computer. Wozniak was only thinking about making computer as a side hobby, while Steve Jobs determined to turn it into a consumer product. Number 2, GUI. This was one of the biggest breakthroughs that Steve Jobs had discovered and would kill to commercialize computer with the GUI feature. Steve Jobs had a deal with Xerox that is for Xerox to open up the kimono to show him everything in their research. In exchange, Apple would buy 100,000 shares of Xerox at the point of time. As an investor, he pressured Xerox his way up until they had no choice but to review the unclassified stuff, which is the Xerox Altor GUI feature. Unfortunately, Xerox Altor's graphical was cloned by Microsoft right after Apple. Based on the book, Steve Jobs was shouting at Bill Gates, as quoted by Bill Gates himself. I think it's more like we both had this rich neighbor named Xerox, and I broke into his house to steal the TV set and found out that you had already stolen it. As Bill Gates mentioned, Steve could have said, oh, this is a violation of something. But Steve didn't. Given his temperamental nature, he chose to say, oh, it's actually really a piece of shit. Number 3, the drag and drop. Steve helped introduce drag and drop file into folder, which was invented by Jeff Raskin, who also happens to work for Macintosh. Number 4, next, the super operating system. He spent most of his hard-earned money and created another brand new supercomputer after he was pushed out of Apple in 1985 as a rival brand to Apple. He even quoted to the public, it's hard to think that a 2 billion company with 4,300 employees couldn't compete with 6 people in blue jeans. Next, eventually became the powerful core operating system for personal computer after his return to Apple 12 years later. Number 5, iMac alongside his team and Johnny Ive, one of the key players in creating the greatest products. He was a product designer who had helped design most of Apple's significant products. Somewhere in the 2010s, Jobs declared that Eve has more operational power than anyone else at Apple except Steve Jobs himself. Number 6, single button mouse. Back then, the famous Xerox mouse had 3 buttons cost at $300 a piece, and it didn't roll around smoothly. Jobs wanted a simple single button model that cost $15. He wanted it to be able to use on texture like the Formica and his blue jeans. The best part, the supplier succumbed to his request and developed one of the most advanced mouse at low cost based on his requirement. Number 7, laptop without CD or DVD Rom. He is very much of a minimalist. He worshipped the Japanese Zen philosophy. In my opinion, he believes in less is more. Everything will be digitalized. The existence of CD or DVD would be obsolete in the future that he envisioned. That is why your personal laptop from Apple doesn't come with a CD-ROM. Number 8, iPod and iTunes. He opened up portable device and music downloading market. This changed the music industry forever. Digital music helped Jobs transform Apple into the world's most powerful technology company. Number 9, iOS, mobile operating system. Used for networking activity, it also allows users to use Apple hardware with simple actions like swiping, tapping, and pinching. On the flip side, Android is the copycat, which leads to the infamous lawsuit of Oracle CEO Larry Ellison, the investor of Apple Inc., who is also the partner supplier of Apple / Steve Jobs' best friends, suing Google's Larry Page for stealing its Java code to create Android. Number 10, end-to-end service control. Google presented Android as open platform. Steve Jobs, on the other hand, insists that Apple should closely integrate its operating system with their hardware to prevent user competitors from messing up with the product. That is why the Apple product is tightly sealed all the time. You can't find any screws on the surface other than you can't use their hardware on the non-Apple hardware. iOS system is only for apps that are built based on Apple's coding. I used to think this is a deal breaker for me. I was under the impression that Apple just wants to make money while trying to keep their name as the cool kids product. Turned out it's not really the case. Before I was an iPhone user, I have been using different kinds of Android phones. I am very pro Apple and pro Steve Jobs person right now. I make a promise to myself to only use Apple's iPhone unless there is a shift of direction from Apple Inc. Otherwise, I will forever be using Apple product. To quote one sentence by Steve Jobs, I like being responsible for the whole user experience. We do it not to make money, we do it because we want to make great products and not crap products like Android. After hearing this, you can consider switching your next phone to Apple's iPhone. To prove I'm not just blindly follow whatever he says and buy the product just because I'm a fan, all the more you should listen until the end. Number 11. The iPhones. As we all know, the iPhone was one of the first mobile phones to combine multimedia player, telephone, and internet browser into a touch screen. With only a few simple buttons, it is the best phone because it has the best quality. Number 12, iCloud. One of the most important things he ever helped produce was iCloud. As quoted by Steve Jobs, we are going to demote the PC and the Mac to just be a device. We are going to move your hub, the center of your digital life, into the iCloud. 13, Pixar. Steve Jobs acquired the computer graphics division of George Lucas 36 years ago. It later became Pixar. Toy Story is the first ever CGI movie made in the history and is produced by Pixar. The work combined with technology used by Pixar progressively changed the movie industry forever. 14. Apple Retail Store. Ron Johnson, who was the former Target marketing executive, the mastermind behind Apple's retail store, while Steve Jobs himself focusing on hiring the best experts in retail marketing, hiring of Ron Johnson leads to the forming of Apple Retail Store. After years of trying and failing, the first Apple Store officially opened in 2001. It was surprisingly another breakthrough to Apple Inc. To me, Steve Jobs is another Thomas Edison. He is another Albert Einstein because without him to bring all this together, there are many great products won't exist, much less Apple Inc. Not just he is a genius who puts everything together, changed the music industry, movie industry, technology industry forever, and created lots of new jobs opportunity. He's also a spectacular leader, a persuasive negotiator. He was very good at assessing people. For example, he could tell whether the engineers were defensive or unsure of themselves. Either way, he knows how to make them in sync with his visions to eventually make the impossible possible. At one part of his life, every year from 1997 to 2011, he made only $1 every year as an interim CEO for Apple. Taking only $1 yearly was a way of showing how much he cared about a company he had co-founded in his parents' garage. I remember I was crying so profusely reading the last part of this book. At the same time, I realized that I admire him so much. Words cannot explain the respect I had accumulated for him after knowing him through this book. After reading Steve Jobs' biography, I became a person who cherished time more and started to learn how to manage my own time and target better. Because of Steve Jobs, if you haven't read this book yet, you just gotta read this book to feel what I feel.